Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. Back again to talk about Vuhdo and setting up Vuhdo, getting it prepared, everything that you need to know about the add-on. Starting off, Vuhdo is a raid frame replacement add-on, and it allows you to click cast or use mouse over macros as you so desire. So click casting, for example, is using something like flash heal, becomes bound to left click rather than any of the keys on your action bar. So you're able to use left click for one ability, shift middle mouse button for another ability like prayer of healing. Anything that you really need, you're able to put your binds into clicks. So that's personally what I use. So if you wanted to, starting it off, use my profiles. My profiles are available, links in the description below. If you wanted to import them, all you have to do is go to the tool section right here, go to import, and you're going to have a whole string, as you can see right here. It's going to be a whole string of letters and numbers. All you have to do is from the link in the description, you'll just copy paste all of that right into the import tab, click OK, and then you should have, the Jack-Caston disc profile or the Jack-Caston holy profile. These profiles are already loaded and made so that you will be able to switch between both profiles for holy and disc. So when you switch into disc spec, it will load the disc profile. When you switch into holy spec, it will load in the holy profile. These are a little bit desynced at the moment, although they are working properly. One issue, or one thing I don't like with Vuhdo is sometimes it kind of gets desynced like this. So right now, if I were to go into disc spec, right, I'm in holy spec right here, as you're able to see with my raid frames. You're able to see I'm tracking renew, I'm tracking echo, and I'm tracking prayer of mending on my bars. Even tracking guardian spirit, for example. So with these, spec 1 is discipline, spec 2 is holy, spec 3 is shadow. So every time I switch the specs up, even though it's showing that I have my disc spec open, it actually is the holy spec, and the disc spec will load for spec 1. So if you wanted to, say, make two different profiles from scratch, all you would do is you would make your profile as you like it for whichever spec you're going to be playing. Then you go to the options here, you make, Jack-Caston disc profile. It will load off of spec 1 because spec 1 is in order right here, 1, 2, 3. And then you'd hit save, and then you'd be all set. And like I said, sometimes it'll appear as if, one profile is loading for another. But I'll show you right here. If I go into disc spec, it will switch from showing the renews and prayer mendings that I was showing on my action bars. And now it's going to be showing powered shields, atonements, everything that you need, just like that, right? So you're able to quickly and easily switch between the specs and still have all the information that you need to present. Now, if you're using spellbinds, the spellbind section is right here. Here you're able to bind everything that you need. So if you use a mouse with multiple buttons, for example, like a Razor Naga or anything like that, you have to double check, make sure that you know which buttons are 6, 7 through 16, right? So for me, I don't have that many buttons on my mouse. I just have a forward and backward, which is 4 and 5. So here, the buttons that I do have bound. So for left click, it's Shadow Mend. My middle mouse button is a defensive penance. You can use Vuhdo to offensively attack a target, for example. I personally don't do that. I just leave the boss targeted the entire time. And then you're able to go into the modifiers here. So control left click, and you're able to see in the top left corner where I'm casting. Control left click is purify. Control middle mouse is pain suppression. And you're able to see the pain suppression is one of my hot icons, which we'll show in just a second. It shows certain buffs on targets, and they can be whatever that you'd like to track. Now, if you use an add-on like Clique, there is integration with those. All you have to do is go to the general tab in the miscellaneous, and you go into Clique support, Clique pass through. You can have these checked, you can have these selected, and you will not have any binds in the Vuhdo options. The Vuhdo options will not have binds, and you will just bind your abilities through Clique. So that's an option that's available to you. I personally don't use it, but I know a lot of people that do. So there's the profiles, which shows the appearance of your raid frames. But then there's also the key layouts, which is the key bindings for your different raid frames. If you wanted to, for example, make sure that not only when you switch your specs, and this is if you're using your keybinds through Vuhdo, and you're not using something like Clique, which has its own profiles for you. But if you have your keybinds through Vuhdo, you want to make sure that my left click, which is Flash Heal, is going to be Shadow Mend. The left click will turn into Shadow Mend when I go into disc spec. So the other thing to do here, go into your spells, set everything up for one spec, go to your tools options, save it as that first spec profile, and again, the spec order, discipline is 1, holy is 2, and shadow is 3. So if I was going to save this right here, I would go Jack-Caston holy, is spec to save. And that's all you need to be doing. And so every time that you load as Holy, you'd have your HOTS loaded, of course. It would show you, or it would allow you to use the specific binds for Holy. If I switch specs, go to Discipline. Again, you go and make a new profile, and then you would set it as Discipline. It would load in Spec 1. And then all you'd have to do is pull it up again, and you see Jappy Casting Disc is Spec 1. My left click is now a Shadow Mend. My shift right click is now Powered Shield. Things like that. So you're able to kind of switch between the two on the fly, and you don't have to worry about adjusting any of your settings or anything like that. Now, in terms of adjusting your profile into what you'd like it to be, panel section is where most of the action is going to be happening. In here, you're able to adjust everything that you really need to have, and you're able to show, for example, the order in which you're appearing in a group, and you're able to show how groups are organized and how they're formed together. So, for example, if you wanted to have them grouped together by specific roles or something like that, you have those options are available to you to do so. Sizing is a big thing. The way that you want to be adjusting your profile, you know, the scale of everything. So if you wanted to be adjusting everything accordingly, you're able to keep everything on the same scale and increase the size or decrease the size as you would like to. So these are my options. Again, you can get them directly from my UI export and stuff like that, linked in the description below. For bars, you're able to change the bar texture. So if you wanted, this is LVY normal, if you wanted to have general Blizzard bars, you know, Blizzard Raid bars, any kind of textures that are available to you, you do have those options, and there are plenty of them. For me, I have my bar color set to class color, so as a priest, I'm showing up as white. If you wanted to have it as gradient, I am completely green right now because I'm at full HP. But if I were to drop low health, we can see that through the testing section right here. So if I wanted to test all my bars and show it's like if someone's really low, it's going to be very, very deep red, and even have a red outline and a red border to it because they're taking that much damage. So can be that if you want it to be. Personally, I use class colors. The damage flash is if somebody takes a really, really big hit, their raid frame will flash at you and will show that, hey, they've taken tons of their HP and damage and need to be topped off and stuff like that. Headers, I show group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, everything like that. You don't want to show it, deselect it, no more headers, don't have to worry about it. Now, the way I'm moving around my raid frames, if you want to lock these, of course, this is going to be in the general section. You know, you can lock them right away, so you have to go in and deselect it. Or, like I do, once you enter combat, you lock them. So that's personally my preferred way of going about doing it. I would definitely say you must lock them in combat at least. If you accidentally move your raid frames mid-fight, I've had a number of times where I've completely lost my my panels and I just couldn't get them back because they went way off the screen somewhere I couldn't find them. So that stuff's always a danger. Make sure it's at least locked in combat. Now, getting on to the hot icons, this is probably one of the most important sections because this is showing the order in which your different abilities and your different buffs and things like that are appearing. So let me take this off. Here, like I said, we're seeing that Atonement is first in line. Then we have Clarity Will if we spec into it. Then I have Powered Shields. And then I have Pain Suppression. So I'm showing the order in which these buffs can appear, and they can be any buffs that you want. You could also track other people's buffs with a bouquet. So previously, when Powered Shield had a debuff associated with it called Weakened Soul, you would want to track that debuff along with the buff. So this is a pre-built bouquet that allows you to show two buffs or debuffs at the same time in the same slot. So for example, I want to show Powered Shield. If Powered Shield gets consumed, it leaves behind a debuff that means that I can't put another Powered Shield on them. That's how it worked in the past. And this would allow you basically to see that you can't use a Powered Shield on them until a little bit later on. This is something that I just personally have not adjusted. It would work the exact same way if I just put it on Powered Shield, because the Weakened Soul debuff is, of course, gone. In the General tab, you go all the way down to Bouquets. You are able to access, this is a priority system that allows you to show one buff over another. So I use these for Holy, actually more than Disc. So my bouquet is called Some Stuff. And what this shows is in my Holy spec, if we can go to my Holy spec right now, this is a priority system that will show 4 different buffs and it will show them in a specific priority. So what we have right here is I have the Guiding Hand, which is my Deceiver's Grand Design trinket. That will show first. Ray of Hope for whenever I PvP would show next. Guardian Spirit would show after that. And Light of Turay would show after that. So it's a priority for the different buffs you're able to put on. You could engineer this not just for your own abilities or your own trinkets. You could actually make this so that you can show every single tank, personal or external. That way you're able to track if the tanks have anything that they're utilizing. So for example, if you know one of your tanks is kind of shaky on Kil'jaeden, you're able to track every single possible buff that they could use. And if you're saying, oh, okay, they're near the last couple stacks of Fell Claws and they don't have anything up, well, I should probably put an external on them or they're going to be done. They're going to be dead, right? You kind of have those options open to you with a bouquet, and they could be anything under the sun. So to set it up, right off the bat, you're able to add more bubbles if you wanted to. So these can be buffs or debuffs. So for my Guiding Hand right here, all you have to do is enter in the name of it. So right here, I see the Deceiver's Grand Design. I place it on myself. The buff is Guiding Hand. All you have to do is type it in. And then the icon that it will appear as, you just set as none or default. If you're going to set it by glossy, it just shows as like a blob. You know, mosaic, it shows as these weird triangles. If you set it to the default, it'll show just as the Deceiver's Grand Design buff. All right. The source of it is only going to be mine. I don't want it to show other people's Deceivers, so I will not have others selected. If you are going to be tracking Vampiric Blood for your Blood Decay, you would want to make sure that its others are checked. That way, if he has it activated, you're going to be able to see it. All right. Otherwise, you'd only be able to see your own Vamp Blood, and you're a priest and you don't have any of that, right? Going back to the hot icons now, we're still able to see, you know, the same section. You're able to see Renew, and you're only going to be showing yours. You're not going to be showing other people's. Prayer of Mending and everything like that, and then you're going to be able to see the sum stuff, which is the bouquet that I was just talking about. The order in which they appear is slots 1 through 4, and then you're able to see where they actually originate from, so the start point. If I wanted to have them, say, above my panels, I would be selecting the hot up here. They're going to be inside my panels, they're going to be on the sides, they're going to be all over the place. Those are different options that are available to you if you wanted to. So keep that in mind. I personally like having mine in the bottom left. That way, Renew is going to be starting right there, and it's going to be starting all underneath my raid frames. And that way I'll have more room to kind of see everybody's HP, their health, and stuff like that. Again, they're going to be showing as icons. Again, if you're going to show them as glossy, then it's going to show, or the fist is going to show all kinds of weird things like that. I personally don't prefer it. After that, you do have just another miscellaneous section. You have an overheal text. So, for example, if I'm casting on somebody and I wanted to see how much I'm going to overheal on them for, you have these little text sizes that you can adjust to show, okay, this is how much the heal is predicted to heal for them. If you don't want to show these things at all, you don't have to show them at all, and you're able to just set it all the way to 0. That way it will not be appearing, it won't be bothering you or anything like that. Colors is another section where you'll be able to show the debuffs specifically that are going to be on people. So of course you have the option by default, so you're going to see your panels look like this. If somebody's poisoned, diseased, cursed, have a magic debuff, not only will it color the name of the character, like Jak and Kil'jaeden, but it will also cover my raid frame bar. So instead of my bar appearing white, because I'm a priest, it will change all the way to this turquoise color for the poison. You don't want to have the backgrounds, you don't have to, and I would again recommend against it. All you have to watch out for now is, of course, if somebody's name turns blue, you know, it's something that you need to be dispelling, you need to be watching out for. So that's how you're able to kind of present the look of your different debuffs that will be going on top of people. Life colors, again, for gradient, health bars and stuff like that, this is what it's going to look like. If somebody's at good HP, they'll, you know, be really, really dark green. For shields, any kind of shielding that you're putting on yourself, it will show in the background. So if I were to get a lot of shielding on myself at 100% HP, you wouldn't see anything. But if I was going to get shields and I was at, say, 30% HP, the shield bar is going to show the shields as if that was effective health. So if the shield plus my plus my current HP, which is 30%, bumps me up to 50%, then I'm going to have my white bar at 30%, and then I'm going to have this shield bar at this color at the last 20%. So it'll show me as if I'm 50% HP. A bunch of other smaller options and things like that that are out there for Vuhdo. Stuff like the debuffs. More often than not, a lot of the debuffs will just already be loaded in there for you. So you should see most debuffs, especially dispellable debuffs that are relevant to you. But if you ever get into a situation where you want to track a specific debuff that is not from one of the raid bosses, for example, you want to make sure you're tracking, we had this where we were tracking our mages Cauterize on Mythic Avatar. I want to make sure that I'm able to see their Cauterizes if it happens to them, because it'll quickly be followed by raid-wide damage. So I have a small window in time to get them topped off, and then I want to be able to track that really quick before the damage happens. All you'd have to do is go to the debuff options, debuff settings, go to custom, and every time you want to enter a new debuff, just type it in. If it has stacks, so if you want to see like grievous wound and it's not showing for you, you want to see your stacks of grievous wound, you want to see your stacks of necrotic. There's no stacks to cauterize, so you don't have to worry about it. You can also set a sound that goes off. There are dozens of sounds that are available to you, so make sure that if it's some kind of rare debuff or something in particular that you need to be tracking, that you need to really watch out for, you want to make sure that you could have a sound for it. It's always optional, but it's a nice option that you're able to have. Select any of the other options that you need, so I always show the icon, the animation, and the timer. Click save, and then you are all set. Where it's going to be showing to you is up to you. Personally, I show mine in the top right-hand corner because it's just free space. So I have my atonement, for example, in the bottom left. I have my roll in the top left. So the top right, I'll show any kind of special debuffs that are going on. So again, if my Cauterize from one of the mages came out, I would be able to see it in the top right-hand corner, and I would know I need to start focusing on them. I need to make sure that I have atonements on them before any kind of big damage goes out or anything like that happens. It's very, very useful. And again, if you ever see any kind of boss debuffs that are not showing for you, go to the custom section and you can add them yourselves. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you all found it helpful or useful. If you'd like to check out my live stream or join Discord, links are going to be in the description below. We're going to be live streaming our Mythic KJ progression, which is going to be coming up very, very soon. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time.